Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening wherever you are. I'm Wade T. Lightheart from the Prosperity and Health Alliance coming to you live from Panama City, Panama, Central America. We've got a big team out in Hawaii. Aloha to all you guys that were out for the weekend. I heard it was an amazing event. Just got back from the Global Recognition ceremony in Singapore where they were handing out literally $100,000 checks for people hitting their bonuses. An amazing 600 people from all over Asia. Countries where people are making $300 a month on average in the homes, and people are walking away with $100,000 checks in Enagic. And that's exciting. And you might be saying, well, I'm just getting started and I haven't sold a machine, or I don't know where it's going, or I'm struggling, or whatever. And I get it. I understand that. But what we're here to help you with in the Prosperity and Health Alliance is to help you become successful and to help share with you the techniques, the strategies, the processes, the energetic forces that you need to align with in order for this mysterious event called success. And everybody everybody would have a different version of what success is for them, and that's fine. But most often it really entails doing what you want, where you want, with who you want, for as long as you want. That's really what success is. And for some people, that takes $100 million a year. For some people, it only takes a few $1,000s because they're happy where they're at. So when I talk about success, please don't make it that I'm telling you about my success. I want you to hold your success in mind, your ideal situation, your version of what you want to get out of Enagic and what you want to get out of this business and how you want to contribute to mankind, to success, and to other people's health, happiness, and peace of mind, because that's what we do at Enagic. So today I'm going to take a little bit of a change from some of our other webinars. I like to do things different sometimes, and I'm going to share with you something. And it's from a controversial figure. The person that I got this information from, and you can check it out, it's Kevin Trudeau. For those of you who don't know, he's considered one of the greatest direct sale marketers of all time, and he also created a massive organization called the Global Information Network, which was a network marketing company. He's also unfortunately gone to jail for some very dubious charges. What he's being put in jail for, it's very different. It's hard to believe, but basically he is a master influencer. And so I'm not here to vilify or to say that, or say Kevin's not innocent or whatever, but what I can say is his audio series, Your Wish is Your Command, is an incredible distillation of energetic principles, thinking principles, conceptual ideas that you can embrace in your life to experience massive success. And he didn't come up with these concepts, but he did do an amazing job of sharing them, and he attributes much of the success that he has had up to this point because of what he's learned here. And so I'm going to share for the first part, and this by no means is a review of the entire work. If you want to do that, you can download it and listen to it. I've done it many times. I've listened to it many times. And on a recent trip to Bali, I was thinking about it, and I came back and I actually was just listening to a couple of these concepts as I call getting altitude on my business. So there's 4 basic concepts to achieving success. And why I embrace these is because when I've broken down other successes in my life, I've actually applied these principles. So I have confidence that they work, and I've applied them in different fields, and I'm going to encourage you to apply them in the field of your endeavor and hopefully relate it to Enagic, but you can put it into other things. Doesn't matter. So let's get at it. The 4 basic concepts to achieving success as taught by Kevin Trudeau in Your Wish is Your Command. And this is really important, especially in network marketing. And I'll tell you why. Because as Eric Worre says, when you first, network marketing is an amazing business. It's probably one of the lowest startup costs with highest potential return on investment of any business out there. It has mentorship built into it, which is a principle of success. And it's an incredible industry. However, the reality is for many people, there is a public perception when you first start out or when you get involved that you may lose some social status in your peer group. That's a fact. That's a reality. And I always find it really fun because I hang out with a lot of internet marketers, and I have a couple internet businesses which are doing quite well. But I can honestly say that I have not had a business that returns on its investment as high to the amount I put into it as my Enagic business. And I boldly state this fact with my internet marketing friends as I hang around with them. And it's really fun to see how the room goes kind of quiet. And I love it. But there was a time when I probably would have been very intimidated by it and wouldn't do. So if you're feeling uncomfortable because you're in Enagic or you're in network marketing or whatever, that's normal, but you need to overcome that. And you overcome that by becoming successful. But the first principle that you have to understand is, who do you listen to? Who do you listen to? Are you going to listen to your friends? Are you going to listen to your family? Are you going to listen to people who have not been successful in this industry steal your dreams? Because that's what they will do, and they will drag you down like the proverbial crabs in the bucket. Doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean they have ill intent. Matter of fact, oftentimes they're trying to help you, or they feel worried about you. You're in this thing. You go to these weird meetings with these weird people doing weird stuff. Normal. It's family stuff. Second thing, teachability index. What is your teachability index? We'll talk about what that is, how teachable you are, and why that is so important. A lot of teachers or masters talk about the beginner's mind, how to enter the beginner's mind. It's a concept in martial arts, Buddhism. Great philosophers talk about this. We'll scale into that. Third thing is the training balance scale. This is the one that I have the most difficult part, and I'll share that in a minute. That this is the one that really stumps me. 1, I get it. 2, I understand that one. 3 is the one that I've got a tip, and I'll share with you an example of how I tipped it recently and how that was positive and how you can too. And then 4 is the 4 basic steps to processing information, of how you learn, basically, what that process is. And we've referred this on other webinars. Peter Drucker wrote a book he's called the father of the modern MBA. And he wrote a book called Managing Oneself. And I encourage everybody to get that book because it shows you the modality that you learn. Many people are branded as learning disabled or don't have great comprehension skills. It's because they haven't been presented information into the context that their brain learns from. And everybody is gifted in certain areas. And if you understand how you take in and assimilate information, then you can master anything. And if you don't know this, you're severely handicapped and you will never, ever fully understand the genius that lies within you. So please grab that book. It's a small, little, tiny book, and it'll kind of go into that. But we'll go into the stages of processing information. So who do you listen to? Well, the first thing that you have to realize is that if you're going to be successful in Enagic, if you're going to become a 6A, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, whatever it happens to be, you need to listen to people who have done it. End of story. Don't listen to the 4A. Don't listen to the 6A. Don't listen to the 6A2. Listen to the 6A, 2.3 or whatever. Listen to the person who is at the level you want to be. And do what they say. Do what they did. And that's a caveat with that. Find the person who you think you're most like. So there's all these different leaders out there. Find the one that resonates the most with your personality and say, hey, you know, I'm kind of like that person, you know, and then really immerse yourself in that person's personality and the methodology that they use to be successful. Don't try to be someone that you're not. But don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to your family. Don't listen to other distributors who haven't produced successful results. I'll even say that, you know, don't even listen to the corporation. The corporation manufacturer, and that's a kind of a dangerous thing to say, but I mean, they're there to manufacture machines and to service that, and they do a great job of that, and you listen to them on those areas, but don't embrace how they think that you're going to make sales. Go to the people who've done it. Some people say, listen to the super wealthy. Well, reading a book from Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, I don't know if that's really going to help you. Many of those people don't actually write the books anyways. They're written by ghostwriters, and they don't always reveal the ultimate keys of success or the reasons why they were successful or some of the hidden secrets. So that you can't really trust that. However, I do believe in reading the biographies of successful people that inspire you. If you're drawn to a certain celebrity or ultra successful person, read their biographies, whether it's Muhammad Ali, whether it's Mahatma Gandhi, whether it's Oprah, you know, whether it's a historical figure, doesn't matter. Read the biographies. And why you read biographies is you'll start to realize that most of the really successful people went through trial by fire. They had to go through an obstacle. And oftentimes that obstacle was physical, but the physical obstacle came from a mental, and some people would say that that emerged from a spiritual. So I always say all challenges that you're facing are an invitation by God to discover your full potential. We'll get to the end of the part of that as a minute. So read those things. But really, it's proven mentors in the field you wish to be successful in. And the more, like, think about it. If you're going to take martial arts, do you want to take martial arts from the person who's been at the gym for 6 months? Or do you want to take martial arts from the person who's been a master for 50 years? Who do you want to listen to? Right? Even if the person who's been in 6 months is saying exactly the same thing as the person in the 50 years is showing you exactly the same thing, do they have the same energy behind what they're saying? No. So there is the thought, there is the methodology, but I believe that there is the energy behind that energy, and that is what I call the believability factor. There's a field that gets built up around people who've been doing things for years and years and decades and decades and decades. There's a field, there's an energetic field that you can taste and feel. And if you've been in one, you know what I'm talking about. Next thing. How teachable are you? Write this question down. Honestly. How teachable are you? So if you were to make a scale of 1 to 10, right? You can write this down. There's a couple things that are going to determine if you're a 10 out of 10 on the teachability index. Because if you're not producing the result that you want, there's something that you don't know. And what I mean by knowing is not just understanding what you need to do. Knowing is not doing what you need to do. Knowing is complete mastery of what you need to do. It's done without thinking. So, first level of understanding your teachability index. Your willingness to learn and to do things different than you're currently doing. If you're not producing the result that you want, are you willing to do something different? Or are you going to continue to do the same thing and complain about it? Next thing. How willing are you to accept change and do those things differently? Are you willing to accept that change? Are you willing to be uncomfortable and do some things that you haven't done before? This is a big factor in how quickly you can accelerate through the compensation plan and how quickly you can become achieve a level of mastery in your business or in anywhere else. Now, the next question is this. What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up some TV? Are you willing to give up maybe some golf? Or maybe a social event with the girls? What are you willing to give up? Willing to give up some time? Are you willing to give up some money? Is this a must? Is this I have to? What are you willing to give up? Because generally you're going to have to give up something. You might have to just give up your old ideas. You might have to give up negativity. You might have to give up hanging around with some friends that have been dragging you down. You might have to give up some of the habits that you have developed that aren't helping you succeed just for a while. But what are you willing to give up? Think about that for a second. I was discussing with my girlfriend recently, and as you guys have known, I've moved to Panama, Central America. It's a country where all Spanish, and I had a rich social life and a very active physical life, and I had a lot of things that I wanted or had acquired in my life in Vancouver. And I decided that I was going to move here. And I moved here, I won't go into all the reasons, but I moved here for a specific reason. And as I told her, I was willing to give up a lot of stuff, a lot of things that I really liked and really get used to and really enjoy for a period of time. And it's not easy, but I know what I want and I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to give up some of that stuff to get this next thing. So what are you willing to give up? Next, what are you willing to invest in time, in energy, and in money? Because if you are going to get to the next level, it's going to cost you all of these things. Don't kid yourself. It's going to cost you time. It's going to take energy, and it's going to take money. Now, generally, it's going to take you more time and energy at first, and then eventually you're going to start using some of the money you're making to buy back your time and energy by outsourcing or making more efficient moves or getting better tech. But at first, you might have to just take all-out massive action. You might have to drive around and deliver some water. You might have to go to a lot of meetings. You might have to do things inefficiently for a while until you can financially reward yourself with more efficiency. Just get it done. And invest in yourself. It's the best investment there is, no matter what that is. Invest in your business, invest in your team, invest in your knowledge, invest in your tools. So these are determining how teachable you are. Another thing, and I love this about Kevin, and he really nailed me on this one. I remember the first time I listened. I used to say this a lot, and I have to watch myself. He says, you don't ever get it. So people go, oh, I got it. Yeah, I got it. I got to do a lot of demos. I got it. You know, I know all that. You know what your teachability index is? 0. As soon as you say, I got it, your teachability index is 0. I used to say that all the time. He says, you don't ever get it. You're getting it. Ah, yes, master. I see. If you look at the greatest fighters, you know, I enjoy the UFC very times. And it's interesting. You'll see fighters or you'll see athletes. Actually, I was watching football yesterday. That's one of my little entertainments. And Tom Brady, maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, 40 years old, dominating his games, on track for his second best year in history in his NFL career, which is one of the most successful careers of all time. And yesterday he threw a deep, long ball for, I don't know, 65-yard touchdown, something like that. And they said that this year he came to camp working on the long ball because he felt that that was an area that he could improve on. Talk about willingness to learn. 40 years old, most accomplished quarterback ever. Everybody says, a lot of people say he's the greatest of all time. And he's going to camp at 40 years old in a sport that he's dominated in for years and years and years. And he's out there figuring out how he can throw the long ball. Now, it doesn't matter if you like Tom Brady or not, or if you, it's not about that. It's about his level of professional commitment to excellence. You know, he's for years he's had strange diets. He has strange coaches. He's so tuned on every detail. And you know what? He took even criticism from his own team, his own coaching staff. And guess what? He might be one of the most durable players in the history of the game. Conviction and a willingness to learn, a willingness to try. So the next question is what are you willing to give up to learn this? Tom Brady's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Tom Brady is married to a supermodel. Tom Brady has his kids, his lifestyle, all this stuff. He doesn't ever have to work again, but he's willing to give up his time, his energy, his body and everything so that he can master his craft and throw that deep ball. So whether you like football or not, you got to admire that. And so the question is what are you willing to give up to learn the skill that's going to get you to the point that you're living in the successful world that you want to live in? What are you willing to do? Make that commitment tonight and say, yes, I'm going to do this. Make that commitment today and say, you know what? Never again. Make that commitment today and say, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and I mean it. Now, is there a willingness to accept change? Because change isn't always easy. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. We love to do things that are easy. So are you willing to be uncomfortable a while to accept that change? This is part of your scale. So the big lesson is don't stop being teachable. Don't say that you got it. Say, I'm getting it. I'm learning. You know, the other day when I was in Singapore, I sat down with Cynthia Brigante and Gary Gans and, you know, 6825, 6826, right? Two of the biggest ranks and companies in there. I got it over there. And you know what was really interesting? They were fighting over who was going to buy me lunch. I wasn't buying them lunch. They were there being of service to me. You know, they were like, oh, Wade, love your stuff. Can we buy your lunch, please? I was going to get some lunch. No, you can't buy lunch. And they were determining who was going to buy. Like, that just showed me the level of service and gratitude and commitment to people in their group. Can you imagine? Like, I remember that. Very kind. Very, very kind. Very heart-based. So don't stop. So they were teaching me something there. Now, let's ask the question, how teachable are you, honestly? I'll do whatever it takes to learn this. I'll do whatever it takes to learn this. You know, recently, over the last year, I've been watching Roger and Sabine Cadet, who have an amazing story in Enagic. And Roger decided that he was going to get super fit. Sabine joined him. And they've worked out like every single day for 365 days or something, some crazy number. It's a crazy number. They've worked out every single day. And they've eaten a certain way, and they've taken 10 years off their life. Like, they've literally done the Benjamin Button. It's amazing. Now, they showed up to the gym every single day. Now, Enagic has allowed them to do that. Enagic has allowed him and his wife to spend time together to actually get in shape to the way they want to look and the way they want to feel. And you know why they're doing it? Not just people think, oh, it's for cosmetic reasons. No. He told me, he says, I want to be able to speak to athletes and people who are fit and so that they'll take me seriously. And I wanted to have this high level. And I saw a post recently where he said, hey, you know what? I want to thank my former self for committing to my future self because now I'm here in my future self in the present. It's pretty amazing. So It's real simple. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm asking a lot of questions today. So we're on a different tangent today. Some days I get like this, you know. So bear with me. I'm doing this because I see the kind of lifestyles that people are living. I see the peace of mind that people have with Enagic. And I want you to have this. But I'm going to ask you a question. Are you happy where you are at? Honestly. Are you happy, or are you content, or are you comfortable? And if you're comfortable, I'm going to flash a big red light. The world has given up and exchanged comfort for happiness. Happiness is found in striving. Happiness is found in reaching. Happiness is found in achieving goals. Happiness is found in those areas. Being comfortable, it's nice, but it's really decay. So if you want to change things in your life, then you have to change things in your life. You have to change what you do. You have to change your routine. You have to change how you're spending your time and where you're learning. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We all heard that, but let's just think of how many people are in Enagic, in this business, in their lives, and they're doing the same thing over and over again and complaining about it. They're complaining about the company, they're complaining about the compensation program, they're complaining about the machines not being in, they're complaining about, you know, some little nuance because whatever they change up, they're complaining. Does that change anything? Nope. Did that stop the company from having the greatest month ever in September? 33,000 machines? Nope. So something's working, right? So the only thing that you really have to change is you have to change the way that you think. And that sometimes is the hardest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to do, but it's the hardest thing because you have to condition yourself. Like you go on, when you go to exercise, I used to be a coach. I was a strength and conditioning coach. Conditioning. Conditioning is making your body do what you want it to do, not what your body wants, because your body always wants to take the lazy way out. So does our minds. It's just the way we're hardwired. We're built on saving glucose, saving energy. And to do things differently, you got to act differently, and you've got to make yourself do it sometimes, even when you don't want to, until your body says, "Okay, I'll just do it." Training balance scale. This is really interesting. This is the one that I've struggled with. I want to, one of the reasons I did this exercise tonight, and I hope that maybe one of these things is just going to lean on you a little bit. And if you do, just listen to that CDs, particularly you can go through it, and each one of these is broken down in far greater detail. But Trudeau talks about you got to spend 99% on the why and 1% on the how. I'm going to say that again, 99% on the why and 1% on the how. And he talks about this on feeling good is more important than doing the things. And I grew up in a blue collar, hard working, hard driving, work harder, and things work out. And I can work as hard as the best of them. I'm good at working hard. I'm good at working long. I'm good at saying, you know what, I'll just wear people out. I'll just go the extra mile. I will just grind it out. I am a master grinder. And to the point where I see some of my friends who have massive levels of success, and they're having all these vacations and they're traveling around, and I'm thinking to myself, I watch myself, I'm making a joke. I'm like, do these guys ever work? How do they do this? They understand this. They spend 99% of the time on the why and feeling good, and 1% on the how. So this year I've been working really hard. I'm going to share this story, and I'm telling you these stories. I want to be open with you in these stories so that you can learn for yourself, and you can ask me questions about it after and apply it to your own life. But I'm hoping one of the goals for me is to be vulnerable with you and show I don't have everything all figured out. I'm not some anomaly or some master whatever. Like I want to share with you that I've struggled as well. I have challenges as well. Everything's not easy. It's better. I have a sense of peace of mind with my magic business that I want everybody to have, and I'm here to help you here, and that's why we do these things. But I don't have it all figured out. So this was one that I was struggling with because this year the funny thing is since I've been getting this residual income from Enagic, which is more than most people make ever in a year, the top 1 percentile of income earners in the world. Again, we can't say how much that is, but it's really good, and I encourage everybody to get there. Since I've gotten that a year ago, I've never worked harder. I've worked actually harder than I ever have in my life. And I worked on a bunch of projects that weren't paying me. And I really grinded myself into the toilet this year. I've worked really, really hard and on a bunch of different things, and to the point of almost burnout. And I go, I'm doing something wrong here. Why am I working so hard and not getting where I want? I'm almost there, like everything's almost there, but it's not quite there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to attempt to do something different. I need to have a willingness to change. I thought of this stuff and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take 10 days off. I'm going to go to the other side of the world, and I'm not going to work in one of my companies. So I got a few companies. So one of my companies I'm not going to work in. I'm going to work on these. And what's interesting is, you know, when I went away, there was a lot of stress in relate to this particular endeavor. And I go away for 10 days and I come back. And that particular company, which I did nothing in, nothing, all the issues resolved itself. In fact, today, the report was, it's been in a better place than it has been. Now, am I saying it's because I didn't work? No, I put a lot of work into it, but so did a lot of other people. But what happened is I went away and started feeling good. And when I came back today, I see things in a different perspective. And I went, huh. So I focused on the why. And I filled up the why tank. And all of a sudden now I just got to tweak the how a little bit, just a little tweak. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to take the time to recharge. Some people call it getting altitude. In other words, if you get so far into your business and you got to get back up. And everybody has a period of time they can do. And one of my business partners was saying he says about 8 to 10 weeks and he starts to fade and he needs 2 weeks off to get altitude, kind of get the plane back up and get perspective, and then you can kind of go and ride that out. And I thought that's pretty good. So I made a commitment to myself this term that I was going to take two holidays. So I took one, and I got another one planned at Christmas time for a couple of weeks. So we're going to stop these at the 15th of December for 2 weeks. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to have fun, and I'm going to let you know how that works. So the question is, are you a why person or are you a how person? Are you focusing just on the how, the techniques, the strategies, this stuff? Or you're thinking on the why, you're getting in the vibe, getting into the energy, the magic. How do you focus on the why? Well, you focus on your reason, your service, why you're doing this. You're servicing mankind, you're servicing your family, you're helping the world, you're helping the environment, you're helping your finances, you're focusing on the why, you're feeling good about the why, you're feeling good about what you're doing, you're feeling good that you're doing something good for the planet, good for the economy, you're doing good for people's health, you're doing good for your family's health, you're getting that vibe of the why. And you focus on feeling good about your business. One of my friends he's a multimillionaire in his 20s, he has a morning ritual where he just gets into a state of feeling good. Learned it from Tony Robbins. So focus on feeling good. So get up in the morning, spend your first hour focusing on feeling good, doing the things, whether it's exercise, meditation, spiritual study, reading a good book. So I get up in the morning, I don't turn on my computer. I don't turn on my Facebook. I get up. I do my energization. I do my meditation. I do my visualization and my spiritual study. I get myself into a good place. And when I do that, my days go easy. When I don't do that, I notice the day's a little challenging. So whatever it is to make you feel good. Okay? Now, 4 steps to processing new information. There is unconscious incompetence. You don't know that you don't know. So let's just say I've never skydived. Okay, never skydived. So I don't even know what I don't even know about skydiving. I don't even know how to put the backpack on. I don't know how to go in a plane. I don't know how to pull a chute. I don't even know what I don't know. Now, if I'm going to go to a skydiving place, I'm going to take the course, and they're going to show me how to skydive. I'm going to go from unconscious incompetence. I don't know what's going on. Then I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be putting the backpack on. And he's going to be telling me you're going to go up to 14,000 feet and you're going to come out here and then you got to hold on to the wing and walk out and then you got to jump. Well, I am going to be clear about all the things that I don't feel very incompetent about. I know that I don't know. I know right down the fear that I'm feeling at the time. I don't know what's going to happen when I jump out this. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. So conscious incompetence, right? So when you first start learning something, it can be this is the frustration stage. This is the stage where the fear comes up. This is the stage when the I can't do this, or I don't understand this, or why isn't this working comes up. This is the period where you've got to be able to embrace it and go through it. And this is a stage, it's written, there's a guy that wrote How to Learn to Play the Ukulele in 20 hours. It's a YouTube video. And most people can go to competence in anything in 20 hours. That's the level, not mastery, but competence. They can learn the basic skills to do this. And he uses a ukulele as an example. So conscious competence. How do you go to conscious competence? Well, you do this through repetition, discipline, and practice. You go through that, right? Over and over. You've seen the martial arts movies where the guy's sitting there, okay, you gotta wax on and you gotta wax off and you gotta paint the fence sideways, all that sort of stuff. And the Karate Kid there, he says, what are you teaching me? You're teaching me how to sand cars and sand floors, wax cars, paint houses, and paint fences. I don't understand. And the master says, wax on, wax off, paint the fence, paint the house. And what he realizes is the movements, the neuromuscular movements are being built during those phases of what feels frustrating because you're building a new neural pathway. And now you can consciously do that. By the time he gets to the fight, he's done so many practices, he does things that he doesn't even know that he's doing. He's just automatically happening it. So he knows what to do and it just automatically happens. And when you get to your business, to that level, when you've practiced these things and you're holding on to the why and you've done the things and you go to the events and you do these webinars and you're out there just magically talking to people, the miraculous happens all the time. And it happens continuously and automatically. This is unconsciously competence. And you know what? Every single person here today has an area in your life where you are unconsciously competent. It could be making bread. It could be tying your shoes. It could be maybe the work that you do, maybe you're a machinist, maybe you're in an office. There are certain areas of your life that you don't even think about. And if you think about what you do on a daily basis, think of one area that you have a level of proficiency that you're confident in. Can you go back to a time when you didn't know anything about it? Of course you can. Think about that for a second. Write one thing down right now that you're really good at, and you can remember a time when you weren't good at it, and then you learned that process. So I'm telling you this because what I want to share with you is that you can be unconsciously competent. You can go to the highest levels of mastery in every skill if you follow that process. And what did you do to do that? The problem is most people think that they stop learning when they start their job, or they stop learning when they get older, or they start learning when they get to a certain age. And the bottom line is your brain can learn better now than ever. It's got more ability to do so, but we somehow shut it off. So I want to share this with you because it's so important for you to know that you can go through this, and you're going to go through the phase of I don't know to this is frustrating and sucks to I'm starting to get to some results to automagic. That's the 4 stages. That's 4 stages. So are you willing to go through this? Are you willing to experience a little frustration? Are you willing to be a beginner? Are you willing to, as they say, empty your mind? Bruce Lee, become water. So, what area are you unconsciously incompetent right now? Write it down. One area that you could do in your sleep, don't have to think about it, and other people go, wow, that's amazing. Doesn't matter what it is. Write it down. Next thing. What area are you consciously incompetent? An area that you'd like to know, but you realize that you don't know. What area? Could be anything. Could be this business. Okay? What area are you consciously competent? An area that you can do, but it takes some skills. Think of driving, right? We all started out totally didn't know what was going on. Then you kind of go through it. You're nervous. You got to do stuff. And then you're consciously competent and you're safe on the road. And then eventually you just drive down the road. You listen to the radio. You talk on your phone. You're doing, and you just kind of go and you can't even remember what happened in the last 2 hours. So what area are you unconsciously competent? Driving's a pretty elaborate skill. If you talk about walking, walking is one of the most complicated motor skills on the planet. We're one of the few creatures that walk upright on 2 legs. And it's what's made humans so powerful is because we're hypermobile compared to other species. Our ability to move on 2 legs allowed us to cover more ground than virtually any other species on the planet. Think about that. Walking is very, very complex, and we all do it. We don't even think about it. So if you can learn how to walk, you can learn how to do anything. Now, there are 3 things that will allow you to achieve mastery in this business. The power of repetition, the power of study, and the power of discipline. Discipline is committing to the study and repetition of the right actions. Doing right actions over and over and over again. I love in Rocky, where he's first training in Rocky 1, way back. And Mickey, his coach, is, all right, I want you to hit that jab 500 times. He's like, hey, Mick, 500 times. 500 times, all right? And so he goes in and he shoots that. If you talk at Kobe Bryant, he got up and shot 500 baskets every day. You talk to all the top guys. You talk Wayne Gretzky, skated for 9 hours a day. They study the game. The best athletes are students of the game. The best business people are students of the game. The best distributors are students of the game. They study what works. They study the techniques. They study other people. I was talking to Romy Verdera, 6'8", makes millions of dollars in this business. He said that he studied this industry for over 30 years. He's been in 7 organizations, and this is the one that caught fire and made him the most successful. And he studied the top people in this industry for 30 years. And he said, you know what? Almost every one of them attributed to a 90-day all-out massive action is what's made them millions of dollars. And he says, my first 90 days in this business made me millions. In his first 90 days, he got a bunch of 2 4s, 2 5s, people that would have paid his way for the rest of his life. He did presentations to a total of about 500 people. Some of those were repeats. In 90 days, 500 people saw his presentation, and out of those 500 presentations, it wasn't 500, it was about 100 presentations in that 90 days. It might have been a little bit more than that, 150. You can see as he shows his day timer. He built a multi-million-dollar business. You're 90 days away from a multi-million-dollar business. If you want to study, if you want to repeat right actions, and if you have the discipline to do it. So what are you willing to give up? Eric Worre says he calls it the insanity program. 16 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, 1 day off for church and relax. But here's the thing. 97% of the population die broke, and 99% of the people die without dreams fulfilled. So don't look around for people. Don't expect people around you to get it. Don't expect other people to understand. Don't expect that you're going to hear what you're doing is okay. You need to lose your mind a little bit because your mind will get in the way. Get a magnificent obsession for a period of time. Immerse yourself in this. Turn yourself over to it. Surrender your better ideas and just go out and do whatever it takes. Siha Top, as you know, all you know, probably the most loved distributor in all of Enagic. Everywhere I go, people say, Siha's in your group. I'm like, yeah, he's in there. Like, he's awesome. Siha does a 90-day all-out massive action every single year at the first of the year. And he often does another one, but he does 90 days where he just goes full out, all just massive action, crazy. And then he just literally follows up from that 90 days the rest of the year. And he'll start another one this January, and he'll go to the next level, and he'll make even more money, and he'll make even more friends, and he'll have even more fun, and he's going to enjoy every single minute of it. I know him. Why? Discipline, study, repetition. Those are the keys to your freedom. Now, here's the big one. Are you a victim or are you a victor? Everything that happens to you in life happens to you. There's nothing you can do about what happens to you. It happens. Are you going to wallow in it as a victim, or are you going to carry that victim story into your present life or into your future life? Are you going to carry the story about your parents or your brother or your sister or your former spouse or your former lover or your former job or why you didn't get it? Like, people carry their story of victimhood to get attention. And I'm telling you, unless you change that, you will never, ever, ever get to where you want to go. Ever. And what I would suggest you do is that you go and find stories about people that had absolutely terrible things happen to them and found a way to become massively successful. Because you go, well, you know what? My life isn't as bad as theirs. I should be grateful. And you get back into gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude that will save you from everything, because that's getting back into the why, getting back into the right vibration. When you are in a victim, you're not in gratitude. When you are a victim, you lose energetic power, and you don't have enough power to escape. Victory. Why do we love movies? Why do we love comebacks? Why do we love underdogs? Why do we love people overcoming odds, like in all the movies, the hero's journey? It was tired. There was monsters. It wasn't going to make it. And why do we watch that over and over and over and over again? Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, because we love it when people move from being a victim to a victor. Everything that happens to you is a result of your vibration. Whatever comes your way, you earned it. Accept it. Accept it no matter how hard it might be. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying people don't do terrible things to you. Accept it. Let it go and move on. Because everything that happens to you is an invitation to help you achieve what you want, even if it looks like it's the absolute opposite. Because sometimes you need to get smashed to the ground to find out what you're really made of. It'd be great if everybody just went with joy and love and unicorns and rainbows, but they just don't. Pain is Tony Robbins says pain and pleasure are two great motivators. Most people respond better to pain. When they go to never again. Never again. Powerful. So victims always ask, why is this happening to me? Oh, this always happens to me. Why is this happening to me? I don't know. And they're blaming. Blaming. Victors? Wow. This is exciting. And enter into a state of anticipation. Wow, this is amazing. I have no idea how we are getting out of this one. But I know we are. I have no idea how the money's going to come in this month, but I know we'll get it. I have no idea how we're going to make that sale, but I know that we are. I don't know how we're going to get those new people, but I believe that we are going to. I don't know why that person balked on the sale at the last second. I guess they're saving me because I wouldn't waste my time on them. A new person's going to come in that I'm going to spend my time with. Excellent. Remember, you get to choose how you interpret the events in life. You don't always get to choose the events, but you get to interpret how they come in. So what you want to do, if you are suffering from something that's been holding you back in the past, I recommend you get a book called The Power of Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. He's one of my spiritual teachers. It's a great book about a little technique of how you let go of things. And what you do is you need to feel and see the situation that you might be experiencing the most pain, and you need to confront it, and you need to see what's the worst case scenario. Make it as bad as you can. And he has a process that goes, and then what? Well, if I lose my job, and then what? Well, then I won't have any money. And then what? I'll get thrown out of my house. And then what? I'll be on the street. And then what? And people will laugh at me. And then what? I won't have enough money to eat food. And then what? And then I'll starve. And then what? And then I'll die. At the end of the day, you got to run it down and see it as bad as it can possibly be. Hold the feelings. And then let them go. And like you can only hold on to that negativity for so long, and then it kind of runs itself out. And you do this 2 or 3 times, and then all of a sudden the thing that bothers you the most is gone. Great technique, powerful technique. I've used it on a number of different things, and I encourage you, if you're really suffering out there, go get that book, The Power of Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins, and just read it and sit with the technique of how to let it go. You can Google it online, how to let it go. Fantastic technique. Again, compare yourself to someone who is worse off and develop gratitude and appreciation. And then act with certainty. Act with anticipation. Manage your state. Stay in a state of anticipation as much as you can. Act as if. Act as if you're already a 6A26. Act as if you are already a 6 or 7 figure earner. Act as if you are the master of your own universe, because you are, and soon enough you will feel that way. You don't know what to say? Act as if you do. Don't know what to do? Act as if you do. And pretty soon you will. You have powers inside of you greater than you can possibly imagine. And so today's lesson was about that. Today's lesson was about for you to learn these 4 things, and for you to embrace your own greatness, for you to encourage yourself to learn, for you to realize where you are in the teachability index and realize that you've already achieved mastery in many areas that you don't even think about, unconscious competence, and all you need to do is repeat that process. You already know how to do this. You've already done it in your life, so why not just go out and do it? And why not let go of being a victim and become the victor of your circumstances instead? Let go of it. And if it's tough and if it's hard and it's the past, read those books, practice those techniques, and let it go. Because you know what? If you don't let it go, what's the cost? You get to be a victim for the rest of your life. Do you want that? No, you wouldn't be here. It's just an old habit, probably learned. All right, so that's tonight's lesson, today's lessons. I want to thank you all for joining us today. It's been a slice, and we'll be here next week with a very special guest next week. I hope you tune in to the Prosperity and Health Alliance. I'm Wei T. Lightheart, coming at you from Panama City, Panama. See you next Monday.